everyone, and welcome to the Jam Yearbook. I'm Matt.
And I'm Jim. On this episode of the Jam Yearbook, we're going to bring you all the best music we found exploring the month of May 2024. Also, Matt, I forgot to tell you this, and we didn't make a big deal of it at the end of April, but we are now in our third year of the Jam Yearbook. And so I am now putting these episodes up as being in season 3.
I like that.
The previous episode was the start, and now here we are, season 3, episode 86.
Hey, that's not good. 86 usually means the end of something.
It does. We're going to hit 86 the show.
Oh my God. Well, at least season 2 didn't end on 86. We're out of our terrible twos. Maybe we'll get better from here on out, Jim.
Yes, we're almost potty trained, or we're potty mouth.
Well, at least we're walking, right?
We are.
I just want to remind people that each month we add new songs to our Spotify playlist. I got the name written down in front of me this time, so we know exactly what it's called. We stumbled a bit last time. New music, the Jam Yearbook discovers. I'm probably going to 5 times check that to make sure I'm right. Make sure to check it out because there are some gems on there.
Yeah, there are.
And then continuing, we know that we start with the deaths, and we only got one, and it is Steve Albini. Who? It's kind of an important name that most people aren't aware of.
Yeah, Steve Albini, he had a huge impact as a recording engineer for a lot of kind of underground and alternative artists. He was known for being a little cantankerous. He was a grumpy guy. And
a prick by some accounts.
Yeah, he preferred not to be called a producer. He wanted to be an engineer.
He kind of saw that producers can have a little too much influence on a band's sound.
Also, I see in the entertainment world in general, the producer has more financial input to what's going on.
Yes.
So it could have been mislabeled. He was the engineer. He was working the board.
Yeah, and he didn't take royalties for his work, too. He just wanted a flat fee up front.
He just wanted the money that he got paid for doing the album.
Yes.
So yeah, he, we'll use the word, engineered the Pixies' breakout album, Surfer Rosa, and he did continue to work with Kim Deal and the Breeders in the following years. He helped grow recognition for the genius of PJ Harvey, which I have yet to discover, but I need to go and listen to that.
Again, I'm going to talk about my local record store. There is a spot where I go to the P's, and I swear to Christ, there's like 30 PJ Harvey albums, just one after the other.
Well, we need to both agree to listen to PJ Harvey at some point then because of Steve Albini. When Nirvana wanted to shed their Nevermind sound and add some grit to their next album, Albini was brought in to engineer the album In Utero. And at first he didn't want to do it because he thought Nevermind was too commercial.
And here's where I'm surprised that I didn't realize that Nirvana themselves weren't really happy with that sound, because I thought they had made a point to go to a specific studio to record that album too.
Oh, I'm sure they did. And I think sometimes in retrospect, they looked back on it and didn't want that sound to push as much as it did the boundaries of music at that time. There are people out there who regretted. I mean, there are artists who want to become rich and famous and break through the market and be the biggest stars in the world. Generally, those aren't guys in cardigan sweaters who just want to record some rock and roll albums and make a little bit of money. Yeah. But Nirvana, they never went out there with the intention of being the band that changed everything. And when that happened, it was difficult for them. So I can understand why they felt negatively about that sound. That was Butch Vig. And Butch Vig had a lot of influence on a few albums around that time. I mean, Siamese Dream was produced by Butch Vig. So that's one of my favorite albums. And I remember a time when you would say to somebody, oh, hey, Butch Vig produced that album. And it would actually...
And that would draw listens.
Yeah, it would. But Steve Albini, nope. Like you said, people weren't really aware of him.
Yeah, because he didn't take on that title of producer.
No,
Nobody really pays attention to audio engineers.
But what he did do was he helped Nirvana create their final album that didn't sound like a carbon copy trying to recreate the success of Nirvana.
And I will say he had bands coming up. He was a punk, but his band Shellac has a new album this month. It was released like a week, like 10 days after he passed.
Okay.
Check it out. It's really good. I really do like his direction at recording sound. He wanted a band to sound like the band. He didn't want the band to sound like the producer had too much influence in the sound. He didn't really like overdubs. He liked the band to record live as a unit
Yeah.
wherever possible.
When you told me that, I found that really interesting because when my band in the 90s, Cinderblock Baby, recorded our album, we were not allowed to do any overdubs by our producer. He wanted us to sound like we did playing live. So there's one guitar, two guitars, one bass, a drum kit, vocals with harmonies from the other two singers, but not a single overdub that you couldn't hear live on stage on that album. Every band should do this.
Yes.
I think it's really good for discipline because it made us tighter when we would play live. You really learn a lot more about who you are as an artist in a band. So I've got a lot of respect for Steve Albini for doing that.
And Albini, I can't remember what album it was. It might have been one of the PJ Harvey albums. He sent it to Kurt Cobain because it was recorded in the same space that they were going to record in utero. So he was like, this is the sound you're going to get from this space. So he was letting the band know, hey, we're going to record how you sound. I will say one of my favorite things about what he does in production is drums. And I think a lot of it is just allowing the room noise and allowing drums to breathe and having that bleed over from my other microphones in the room too. The recording sounded alive.
That's really cool. We just eulogized a engineer, not producer. But let's get beyond the passing of Steve Albini. Rest in peace. And let's get to your favorite part of the show, the birthdays, because Matt likes to make this list that is always out of control.
Yeah, one day we should just stop and not even mention that we're stopping.
We're going to have to in August because we started doing monthly shows in August last year, and it's just going to be the same birthdays over again. So we've got to come up with something else.
Well, it could be like a Highlander thing, eventually they're all going to go away.
Oh,
sorry, went dark.
No, you're right. They will eventually. What are we going to do? Who falls off of the birthday list from the previous?
Oh my God, it's our death pool.
Yeah, we looked back at August, and this year we found that these people are no longer here.
Exactly. No.
It's like a game show. Survive the Jam Yearbook.
Yeah. Who have we cursed? All right. So in May, a lot of people blew the candles off the birthday cake. Ray Parker Jr., Lou Gramm, Frankie Valli. Yes, I checked. He's still alive. Adele and Philip Bailey.
We had Tony Tennille, Billy Joel, Bono. Young MC was still busting a move. And
not so young anymore.
No, old MC. And then Eric Burden. Burden. Wait, did I say that right?
Burden.
And then Eric Burden.
Continuing on with Steve Winwood, David Byrne, Raphael Sadiq of Tony fame, Janet Jackson, and Rob Bass.
Oh,
no, we're not done yet.
We're not, because we have Grace Jones, Sam Smith, Cher, Busta Rhymes, and Bob Dylan.
In our final six here, Patti LaBelle, Lauryn Hill, Lenny Kravitz, Andre 3000, John Fogerty, and the one and only Gladys Knight.
Oh, wow. So we're almost at the end of our birthday run. We've got June and July, and then we'll discuss what we'll do in August. But album anniversaries are always going to come around, and we like covering those. 1994 has continued to impress us. And in May 1994, 30 years ago, we had Weezer, the Blue Album, which Matt wore out, but it's still a great album for me. And Beastie Boys, Ill Communication.
And in 1989, celebrating 35 years, we got The Cure, Disintegration.
That's such a good album. My inner goth has to say I love that album.
I should have let you announce that one.
Yeah, you should have. Come on. How could you have not let me announce this?
Okay, cut. Jim, you take it.
No, because the 40 years is Twisted Sister, and that's you. Yeah, I'm sure Chicago is too.
Chicago 17, man.
I'm sure I can hear you singing Hard Habit to Break in the shower somewhere.
Having that shower beer, man. But then also for 40 years in 1984 is Tina Turner's Private Dancer.
Oh, but then Matt did gift me in the notes that in 1979, The Cure premiered with Three Imaginary Boys.
There's the trade-off.
Thank you. And then, to be honest, you gave me David Bowie, 50th anniversary of Diamond Dogs, and Bad Company made their debut with Bad Company.
Bad
Bad Co.
company.
Yeah.
And celebrating 55 years from 1969 is The Who with Tommy.
Classic album.
It's not only albums that are still around. Every month we find some legacy acts that are still putting out some stuff. And this time we've kind of been building up to it because we've mentioned him a couple times, but Slash finally released his newest album.
Yes, The Orgy of the Damned, I believe is the name of it or something along that line.
That sounds like him, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I heard the name of the album and I thought, I can't share this with some people in my life who will be bothered by that name. But the album itself is a brilliant collection of classic rock tunes. So, taking some time to digest it, I had a couple of different takes, and it's not divided. It's more one of those, on one hand, I feel this way, and on the other.
Well, that
So,
means divided.
well,
You are divided.
I slightly, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's both on my body. It's just stuck with me. It's stuck with me. So, firstly, this album, it's so well put together. The musician Slash brought together to record some of the coolest rock songs of rock and roll legacy are unmatched in recent years as far as collaborations go. The highlight for me was the cover of Stevie Wonder's Living in the City with Tash Neal taking the lead vocals. I never thought a guitar solo from Slash would be so fitting in this song, but he really makes it work. Intervisions is holy ground as far as I'm concerned. And I was surprised and a bit apprehensive when I saw it on the album. I think I messaged you. I was like, I think Stevie Wonder's, Living for the City is on this album.
It would have been better to have Stevie on there. I like what Tosh Neal did, right? He's talented. They did a great job, but just even, man, if they could have had him come in and perform that little skit in the middle.
Oh, just the little skit in the middle would have been good. But
Yeah,
at the same time, I would say that everybody was covering something on this. So there were really no originals brought
true.
in.
Oh, yeah, true.
Now, here comes my other hand. My issue with this album is I've heard a lot of these songs too many times in my life to keep going back and listening to it. Crossroads, it's with Gary Clark Jr. Sounds amazing on the album. It's great. Maybe one of the best covers of that song, period. But I don't need to listen to that song again. It's on my list of songs that I never need to listen to again. I did like, Clapton killed that song for me.
Yes.
But at the same time, I have to admit, this album will have a fan base. And if you are a classic rock guitar person and that's your only jam, this album's for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a couple songs I'll add to your list. I don't really need to hear Hoochie Coochie Man or Oh Well again. Or maybe I just don't like covers of Oh Well. I mean, I generally don't skip that song when it comes on, but maybe it's because I'm too far away from the button. I don't know. We have, yeah, you get to be in your 50s. You just heard some songs way too much. But they made good choices on who they brought in for these songs.
Mhm.
He got the right people to sing. Just, if I'm tired of a song, it's just going to feel like too much karaoke, but such is the life of a cover album
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
and I don't recall ever hearing the Pusher before. So from the opening, I was hoping for a little more obscurity. So like you, I am divided on the album. It hits like that 50-50 mark. Of course, yeah, Stevie cover. Yeah, that's Hologram. Anytime we say Intervisions, there should be like a hallelujah chorus in the back of us because we love that so much. It's a bold choice because that is a great song. So I went in with plenty of side eye. And I did miss that skit in the middle, but you know what? It gave Slash more room to play. And I was okay with that because I don't think the song suffered from that not being in there. And we had a visit from a 90s favorite, Better Than Ezra, back after a 10-year break. It is really nice to have them back. I find that whenever they put something out, I generally like it a lot. There's even a couple inspirational songs on here for you, Jim. live a little and show them up. This was a really good album.
It was a really good album. I enjoyed it. And to be honest with you, I did not expect myself to be living. I did not expect myself to be listening to a Better Than Ezra album this month
Yeah.
and enjoying it. But here I am. Uh, what about Contact High? I think that's a pretty relatable song at some point in my life. But it's a good reform. But it's a good return to form for them. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, that damn song. I can't get it out of my head. I had to listen to it just before we went on. It's my new obsession. It makes me want to sit on a beach with a fruity drink. It's just such a great song.
That's the right place to be with it.
And Randy Travis, it was so great to hear him again. It's a really good song. And I don't care that it's an AI track. I do not. It was really just special to hear his voice again. It sounded like a Randy Travis song as well. I'm sure it was just the voice that was produced by AI and he was involved in the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I looked this up. I did some research on this. Oh, lo and behold.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's to me probably the elder statesman of country music now. I think, it's unfortunate that he had a stroke. And I say statesman, he's not really able to come out and do much in public.
There's a lot to be concerned about artists' rights with
Mhm.
AI, but you can't stop it. It's coming. Well, it's actually here. We were wondering if AI was involved in that obscurest vinyl that we've been hearing and just making us laugh our asses off because those are 100% AI. There's no going back. I just plan on being fooled many times in the coming years. I just have to resign myself to that.
Oh, it's going to happen. But with Randy Travis, the production process was approved by Randy. And I think that's pretty cool. So it's not a case of a dead artist that they're trying to resurrect on a record somewhere. They used 42 of his original recordings and stripped back the vocals. Then they took AI to overlay his vocal over the top of a surrogate vocal provided by country music singer James Dupree. Randy's producer, Kyle Landing, was more focused on the feeling than the sound of it, and I think they nailed it. The funny thing about obscure vinyl for me is this: AI music is not just created out of thin air. You still need surrogate vocals to sound as close to the original as possible to make it happen. So it's odd to me that they just didn't create this organically since there's some kind of like bullshit songs that are flowing out there. All right. So beyond country music, let's go to jam band stuff.
Wait,
And
what?
yeah, jam band stuff. We are going to go to Fish of all
What?
bands. Yeah.
Who's that band? What?
Fish.
I
Yeah.
never heard of them before. That's amazing. Fish. How do they spell that?
Did they just release like two radio ready songs under 5 minutes? Because that probably would really piss their fans off. Fish fans want everyone to love Fish, but also want to belong to an exclusive club.
No truer words ever
Uh,
spoken.
and it's a good thing that Fish aren't 25 anymore because that's what will keep these songs from getting much airplay on the radio the way that Hoist did back in the day that pissed all those fans off.
You must have heard a different version of Oblivion than me. That sucker was 6 minutes. That's
Oh,
yeah, you probably could have heard a radio edit or something. Um, that song sounds like they already have a half-hour jam plan for when they play it live, minimum 30 minutes. Chop it up. Evolve is a really cool song though. That one is short, concise, really catchy. Even though I am mostly, and you are too, I think, fish intolerant, except for fish food ice cream, Ben and Jerry's, you rule. I do love Trace playing. He is so smooth in everything he does. It's very tasteful. It fits within the music.
yeah, he is a great guitar player, and I've enjoyed some of his stuff over the years and like really dug it. And you're right about the fact that Oblivion might be set up for a longer jam. I mean, come on, the song's called Oblivion. You could just go on forever, with what they're doing. Yeah.
We're going to move on from Fish to Lenny Kravitz. And though I know in the past we've spoken of challenges with Lenny Kravitz, he's like the coolest motherfucker. You can't deny that.
No, you can't. If I could pick somebody who I would want to live vicariously through, Lenny might be one of my choices as far as
Yeah.
rock stars go. And we've made our piece how we feel about Lenny in previous episodes. And neither one of us are going to run out and grab one of his albums. We're not mega fans of his. We have, some mild respect, but this album is it's mostly typical Lenny stuff. I think if he'd written the song on the album called Human back in the 1990s, it would have been one of those mega smash hits for him.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a really cool song. It's got one of those revolving choruses that just is just so catchy, but it doesn't make the entire album worth listening to. So I'll put the song on the playlist.
I like this a lot more than I thought I would, and probably half as much as I should. I must have been in a mood for Lenny. 2K421. That gave me Prince vibes. And probably that's like the first song I heard. So it kind of dragged me in because there was a span in his career where everything sounded American Woman, right?
There was, yeah, yeah, yep.
And because I got kind of tired of that, I didn't dig in. So there's probably more there. Well, not probably. There is more there that I'm not aware of. But this album, it doesn't stick around in one place too long. Each song sounds like a complete thought, and then he moved on. And that's what I look for in an album. I don't want to hear a rehash of the same song 12 times over because you couldn't finish your thought.
I agree with that. And obviously, I had to run to TK421 because, TK421, why aren't you at your post?
Yeah.
TK421. It's a straight up great Star Wars reference.
It is.
It doesn't even talk about Star Wars in the song, but he called
Boring
the song
conversation anyway.
Yeah. But he that just impressed me that he went and did that.
Yep. And T-Pain, it really feels odd to say I've been enjoying T-Pain because I've avoided him like the plague because that overuse of autotune early on, it was just too much for me. But I've grown more accustomed to it because like AI, which is gonna grow. Autotune, it's not going away. On this damn song, On This Hill, it's not overly done, and his vocal moves around. It doesn't like really get locked in to that one specific melody. I don't think he's done himself any favor. Maybe early on he became known as Autotune, right? But now that he seems to have, you know, more tastefully done Autotune, you can't deny the dude's got a really good voice and a pretty strong artistic streak.
You surprised me when you presented him covering War Pigs a few episodes back,
Oh
at
yeah.
least at some point this year. But it was one of those moments where I realized that autotune is really just kind of what was his thing that got copied by many other artists after him in the way that he used it.
Yeah, it was a stylistic choice.
It was. He can really sing, like really sing.
You can tell when the autotune pitches in.
Yeah, but that's why I kind of put this song out there first on our notes because I went and listened to the song and it's a great song, but it's the first time that I've gone back and been like, wait a minute, like T-Pain's like cool. There's something going on here that I can listen to and enjoy.
You had me watch this Dua Lipa episode on Netflix, something to do with pop music. There was a T-Pain episode with him, and he kind of goes into the whole auto-tune thing. And it was kind of good to hear his side of things.
So we also had Eminem, somebody from back in the day like T-Pain, who had a new song coming out in May.
Yeah, I could have done without that. I don't know if we're going to disagree here because you kind of texted me that it was the return of Slim Shady. And I wasn't sure what you meant by that because I'm like, well, is it because it's a classic sound or it's a banger that he had to announce it by yelling it or not yelling it, but he announced it in the song again. How many comebacks does this guy need?
I didn't dislike it, but I was really probably struck by the nostalgia when I first messaged you. I have to admit, I'm kind of glad we haven't had 20 years of Slim Shady doing the same thing over and over again.
I agree. I wholeheartedly, yes.
But I listened to it for probably a day and a half and then wore it out.
Yeah, and while I didn't listen to Eminem, I like people who kind of like poke at others in their bullshit. But I think what really kind of was the big struggle with me for this song is Abracadabra, which he sampled in this. It's not a Steve Miller song that aged well for me. I freaking killed that 45. I can't listen to that song. When Sugar Ray covered it, I had to turn the radio off. I couldn't take it.
Well, I think that even Abracadabra still probably lasted longer than this new Eminem song will for us. You know, the thing is that part of me sees it as a nostalgia act, and then another part of me sees it as a cash grab because here we are 20 years later, and I can do this. And that nostalgia, like that happened with me, will come on board, and I'll get half a million, and I'll get half a million, and I'll get half a billion plays on Spotify just because of it.
So here's a funny thing that occurs to me right now. So you know how well, I don't know, you live in the UK, so you don't watch PBS, but maybe you did back in the day when they had like all the doo-wop in the 50s artists go up on stage and they try to sell this DVD.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the day when it's like hip hop's turn to do this.
Oh, that's kind of sad. All right. So we always move on, speaking of sad, from,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
still around to what we're going to rant about. And Matt,
Yeah.
we're at the rant part of the show. This is not an invitation to go back to Fish and talk about them.
Well, so do you have any rants that you need to get out of the way? I mean, you've been on a roll lately.
No, I'm fine this month, actually. I'm kind of
All
cool with
right.
everything going on for the most part. Yeah.
Medication is on point. I
Well,
like
you
that.
always have a little rant for everybody that gets mentioned, no matter what. So,
I'm trying to parse it out over every subject. I got no airing of the grievances on anything specific right now. So on to the new stuff.
let's do
Jim,
it.
you shared something with me that was really unexpected. Bad, bad, not good.
Yeah. What?
Bad, bad, not good. You heard me.
Yeah, bad, bad, not good. How many times have we talked about prejudging something before we even give it a chance? I see that name. Nope. Bad, bad, not good. I have to admit, I skipped right past them every single time. They've been on playlist over here for a couple of months, and I've been like, bad, bad, not good tells me do not listen to that. I assumed it was either hip hop I wouldn't like, or maybe badly translated K-pop band name.
Oh no, Color Me Bad's making a comeback.
Oh no, that's even worse. But I didn't think I'd have any interest in this. So it was humbling and surprising when I decided to give them a chance, and I discovered a new instrumental smooth jazz funk album. I don't normally listen to this kind of music casually, but it was great to have on in the background while I was working one day. I think this next generation of young people have really broadened their taste in music because this showed up on the New Music Friday playlist, which aims directly at young people listening to music.
Hmm,
And then
okay.
looking at the upcoming list of other new music that we've seen just kind of reinforces that theory for me.
So this immediately reminded me whenever I go into my local record shop, I swear every damn time there's something exactly like this playing. And I had to fight the urge to go shopping. I was a little triggered, if I'm honest. um, but as much as I kind of wanted to come on and give you shit about it, it's actually quite good.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to be in the mood to, like, if you're cooking, right? You're
Yeah.
doing something. You
Yeah.
can't be monitoring your phone for something to skip. You put it on and you're like, before you know it, you're really jiving with it. Yeah, it was really good. Another person who made me want to go shopping was Frank Turner. This was a delightfully meandering album stylistically. It goes in and out of punk. It really sounds like a therapy session. He's coming to terms with being middle-aged. It's very insightful, especially in Ceasefire. He tells 15-year-old Francis they gotta have a talk. He tells him, I know you hate what I've let myself become, but you have no idea the things that you're going to see, do, and hear to become your not your final product, but you're always at a, you know, I'm at my now product,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this album was a slow burn for me. The first songs I kind of heard, it was some cool punk, Girl in a Record Shop, Never Mind the Back Problems, but then I listened to the whole record finally just yesterday. And I was so happy with how it meandered in and out of punk. There were many moments of it being inspirational, which is odd, but I really, it shouldn't be odd because punk, you know, at its core when it was starting out was railing against certain things. And it was about introspective. It was about doing the right thing until some, you know, elements took it over. And all throughout this album, yes, I am not usually a lyrically drawn person right off. There is some inspiration and hopefulness in what he's talking about. He's facing entering middle age and he's telling that inner punk, don't worry, we're okay. We're going to be all right. I got you.
Yeah, he's really good. He's one of those guys that I've had some friends that listen to him and they brought him up in the past, and I've never been able to get through an album completely where I wasn't skipping songs. It was always kind of good, but this album in particular is really cool. And it's got great lyrics, as you just brought up there, and a really cool old school alternative feel that's not on the grunge side, on that kind of other spectrum of alternative
Yeah.
music that was coming out of the 80s and 90s.
Okay, Jim, I got a bone to pick with you. You pulled a
Okay.
me. You pulled a Matt. You put something into the notes late, and I had no, I had to quickly like go to Spotify, go to YouTube, try to find out what I thought about this band. Uh, Karate Boogaloo. Or is it
Boogaloo.
Boogaloo?
Boogaloo. Come on, it's
Boogaloo.
Boogaloo.
Okay. Well, yeah, whatever. Karate Boogaloo. Explain yourself. Did this auto play after Bad Bad Not Good?
Good question. Yeah, yeah.
You know, this is the kind of music that I want to try, but I never want to try. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to check that out one day, and then one day never comes. It's for when you want to get stuff done and you can't constantly play DJ on your phone. If it comes on, that's what you're listening to, right? And what I'm doing is a pleasant enough task. At least it's got a good outcome. I'm going to have a positive connection with it. It sounds like great background music that can drift in and out of my attention. And whenever I drift back, there's something good and it's interesting. And I'm going to keep listening. So I kind of wanted to give you shit because I didn't think I was going to like this. And I was trying not to like this, but I actually did.
I'll be honest with you. I saw the name Karate Boogaloo and I just had to go give it a listen. Just like, what does Karate Boogaloo sound like?
Respect.
Yeah.
That's what I do a lot. Yeah.
There must be a movement right now amongst jazz bands giving themselves crazy names. Bad, not good. Karate Boogaloo. Either way, I'm here for this resurgence of smooth jazz as long as it does not go full blown Kenny G on us. I'm
Yeah, and
in.
step one is not calling it smooth jazz.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. It is kind of smooth though, but
It
yeah.
is, but let's not call it because that's all you hit it right on the head. That's all I can think about is Kenny G. And then that flows to Michael Bolton somehow. I don't
Yeah, yeah. All right. So move us along to somebody
move us
else who's
along.
kind of smooth.
Oh, yeah, he is smooth, Steven Sanchez. I'm glad he's sticking with his style that we loved on Angel Phase. It's updated, it's a little bit more modern, but there's still this 50s kind of troubadour at its heart. And I really like stylized music that can be carried out over albums. It's okay when it's in a song, but when you put me in one mood, I kind of want to stay there, and that's where he stayed. And I'm kind of along for that ride. It's like that Charlie Crockett album we found last month. You know, Steven Sanchez stands out to me, and I'm sure there's going to come a time, and you can kind of hear it on here. He's going to update his sound, blah, 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 whatever. But he's kind of got me hooked at this point. So I'm probably going to be along for the ride.
It does seriously kind of stumble into pop a little bit, but in a more appealing way than the commercial drivel we get spoon fed from record companies these days. And if this gets him a little bit of a wider audience, I have no problem with that because Steven Sanchez deserves to be heard.
He does. And while, yeah, the music does kind of dip into pop, it's his vocal delivery that still remains unique. It's not a pop delivery,
No, it isn't.
which still drags me in. The
Yeah.
guy's really talented.
So I'm going to bring up an artist we found last year, Orla Gartland. She popped up on our radar, I think it was maybe August or September time, with a song called Kiss Your Face Forever. It was one of those moments where we both shared the song with each other and we really liked it. To be honest, I
Yeah.
preferred that song, but she has yet to release an album in the meantime. So I'm going to bring her to the show and we're going to keep her on our radar. This song, Little Chaos, it's got a really cool style. And I think her songwriting is outside of the attempt of being a pop princess. I would kind of put it right in that category of great alternative songs from the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. And I like how it kind of feels like we're on the ground floor with her because we're only getting singles. And we are we're anticipating positively with that album that's going to come out, and we're going to be happy with it. I think we're probably not going to be blown away by it, but we're going to be like, damn, that's good. And
Yeah.
I think that's the baseline of what you can hope for.
That's all you can hope for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but something that was outside that radar of being good, because we had a chat about this. Childish Gambino.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I really love that song so much.
I spent 3 days singing Little Fit Bigfoot
Get
wherever
out the way.
wherever I went. This is a little less abstract than most of Childish Gambino's music, and it's more accessible, but it's one of those perfect songs that kicks off summer, and you can hear it playing for the next couple of months in
Mm.
regular rotation.
And again, I wasn't near my phone, so I couldn't see who it was because I had my AirPods in. I looked through the playlist and I didn't know you had put a Childish Gambino song on it. And I saw the name and I'm like, oh, that's gotta be it. That melody, it just sticks with you. But here's the thing, it is such a happy sounding song. It hides what he's really talking, what he's singing about in the song.
Hmm.
And there is this harsh change when it goes from his style to somebody I've never heard. And I apologize if I say this wrong because I'm not, I think I know, I think I'm supposed to say it young nudie.
Yeah, that sounds
I think
right.
young nutty would be like two D's, but it's young nudie. And when his part of the song kicks in, you start paying attention more to the lyrics. And because the music changes from this happy go lucky, really pop, not poppy, but it's a really happy sound
Hmm.
to a little less, more sparse, a little more serious sounding, that you pay attention to the lyrics and you realize, wait, these guys are kind of talking about the same thing. So it makes you go back and listen from the very beginning and try to dissect what he's talking about because uh he's really talking about something deep that should be paid attention to. But it's great that maybe people will pay attention to it because the music is so happy sounding.
I'm actually going to say that he sounds like it's Young Nutty that comes into place. It's a better hip hop rap name, but the way that he transitions into the song, it works perfectly, and it transitions the song in a different direction. But you're right, the subject matter, the crossover between what they're doing, it all works. So this song is my summer barbecue song.
Oh, without a doubt. It's really cool. So if you listen to our previous episode where we were creating our own music festivals. My third stage, I was I was really trying hard to create a Canadian stage. Only because I really wanted the Tragically Hip to finish off my third stage. And I just couldn't make it like something that excited me. But one of the bands I had on there was our Kells. They have a really cool covers album out in May, and it's a lot of the songs you really wouldn't suspect. They knocked Sledgehammer and 9 to 5 out of the park. I will say the ABBA and the Whitney Houston covers were absolutely out of left field. Dancing Queen, they did a good job with. I Want to Dance with Somebody probably wasn't on my list of top 10 songs, top 100 songs in my life, but they did a really good job with it.
Yeah, they did. This album kind of, you're right, came out of left field. Really a lot of fun stuff. And I'm not about to tell you that the cover of 9 to 5 is better than Dolly Parton's version,
Oh, no,
but
no, that'd be sacrilege.
no, it would be, but they do enough justice to make it a lot of fun. The only real miss for me on this that I was kind of looking forward to when I saw all the songs and realized they were covers was the cover of Huey Lewis and the News' Power of Love. But I have to admit, that's one of my favorite songs of all time. So I can kind of let it slide with everything else on the album because I think I kind of set the standard too high.
So the big miss for me was You Make My Dreams Come True by Hall and Oates. I haven't connected with that song, but I think it's because I was skipping around a little too much that I didn't, that I'm like, oh, I know that song. I don't need to really listen to it anymore.
It didn't have the energy. And that was the problem with Power of
And
Love
that's
for
what it
me.
was. Yeah, you're
The
right.
other some of those other songs had the energy, and that's why 9 to 5 actually worked for me because the energy was there on it.
Yep. And 9 to 5, if you don't have that intro down the way Dolly had it, then I won't listen to it. It's got to, there's something with what's going on with that piano and the bass that it's got to be exactly that, or I'm not having it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Arkells is a band that in the past they have sung about workers' rights. So 9 to 5 is a very sensible song for them to cover.
Okay, but I'm sure they also have to sing about Sledgehammer and how that's all about
Sledgehammer is a great
sex.
song.
All right. So speaking of high, because that's where I was setting my standard high for Power of Love.
Oh, yeah, high fade, right? I wish I was smarter, Jim, on a lot of things, but mainly so I could better explain how awesomely talented high fade is. When I listen to them, I'm at the same time I'm dumbfounded because something just takes me over. I'm like, this is so fucking great. I can't explain it, but it's so great that I don't want to dissect it. I just want to enjoy it. I love hearing bands let it rip the way they do.
I have a bad habit of comparing bands instead of just letting them sound like themselves.
Oh, same here. Same here.
Yeah,
Because on this song, I was ready to come on and say, I could have swore that was Corey Wong playing guitar on that thing.
it's hard not to do this when we have 50 years of music behind us. But I want High Fade to sit in their own pocket of genius. They have
Yes.
so many influences and styles, but they kind of hit me. And this is not a musical comparison the same way Nirvana did in 1991. They make me excited for music again. So I'm going to use this moment once again to brag to you that I've seen them live
Or
and
make me jealous. Yeah.
I got to go and hang out and talk to Harry and Ollie, the bass player, and they handed me a business card and it says funk on it. But they mask so many other styles of music behind that moniker. Long live High Fade. Such a good band.
Long live. Long live. And I still kick myself. I had stuff going on and I couldn't see them. They were here in Burlington at was it Higher Ground or
No, they were at
Nectar's?
Nectar's. They were at Nectar's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is like the perfect place to go see this band because they will more than fill that space.
Yeah.
Sound wise, they're going to draw people in like closer to the band just to watch and be amazed at physically what they're doing. They're just amazing.
They are absolutely incredible. So, yeah, there we are. The wrap up of May and all of the music we have left in our notes. But you know what, Matt? We get to the end of every month and then we start looking through new song playlists and we see that we've missed stuff from other months.
Yeah, we do. We do
Yeah.
because we're trying to cram stuff in a month, and shit's gonna fall through the cracks. And that is one of my personal pet peeves with how we're doing this is because I like to obsess over something. And like Frank Turner, I got to obsess over that thing for 3 days. And it's like, I can't obsess. I got to move on to June. But no, I want to listen to that thing for 3 years straight, right?
But that's one of those albums that we need to decide we're going to go back and listen to. And that's the hard part about this show. And we talked about the difficulties that people who review music every single month must go through, is that you have a hard time hanging on to an album or bringing something along with you because you're always listening to new stuff, and like kind of picking that, like cherry picking something you're going to take with you for the rest of the year when you're trying to listen to new music all the time becomes more and more
Closes
difficult.
you off.
Yeah, it does. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the next episode after this to dissect what we have missed in the first 6 months of the year.
I can't wait to recap the first 6 months. It's going to make the end of year wrap up so much easier.
Yeah. Well, this is not a case of picking your favorite songs
No.
off of the first 6 months of the year, but it's a case of coming back and talking about what we missed and where we could have gone better, and maybe changing a direction or thinking about how we look ahead.
Yeah, I like that. We'll create a Jam Your Book greatest hits for the first half.
Well, yeah, we
24.
definitely need to like figure out how we're going to knock birthdays out.
We'll get rid of those goddamn birthdays sooner or later.
Yeah, we will. We can't keep going. Happy birthday, Billy Corgan.
Happy
birthday.
Yeah.
Every single year. We'll just have Matt sing happy birthday every episode to everybody.
Exactly.
And then there we go.
And if this was a video podcast, we could just have the names rolling through the screen. So
we could. We just keep talking and be like, oh, look across the bottom. Yeah, there we go.
Across the bottom.
Yep.
Oh, sports scroll right across. Instead of scores, you're going to get happy birthday. Yay. I don't know why, but I'm just going to say Billy Corgan again. Yay.
Yeah. All right. So, Matt, it's your turn to wrap it up this week.
It is. And I am going to wrap up this edition of the Jam Your Book. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to check out that playlist again. Jam Your Book, new music we discover. I said it at the beginning of the episode. Rewind back if you're that curious. Please be curious. Go back. Check us out. And we're going to see you back here next time when we give a first half year 2024 recap. And then after that, we're going to recover from what we found in June. And then we're going to keep going on and on and on and on until infinity, or until Jim gets sick of hearing my voice. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, we are. We're just going to keep on rolling. But here we go. Everybody, we will see you here next time on the Jam Your Book.
Hasta la vista.
Peace, love, and podcast.